Welcome to the Inside Track on Real Estate and with the Decker team. And I am Yetta Decker.
I'm Ken Decker.
And today we want to talk about something that we have not probably ever talked about.
No.
I don't think so. We've talked about it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Just not on air. And so the show is going to be called The One Day Contract.
Well, that's actually not the show's name.
Well, it is.
Well, it's not.
Okay, it's called The Inside Track on Real Estate. Is that what you mean?
Well, kind of. That's one of the books we're going to talk about.
Yeah, and also I think we're going to call the show The One Day Contract. And we can have an argument right here on air, or we could just go with it.
Well, you're always right, so we'll go with it.
Okay, perfect. And really what it's about is that when we bring a property to market, we really only have a one-day contract. Even if the listing paperwork says that it's 6 months or a year or 2 years if it's a high-end, far out in the middle of nowhere property, or depending on what the property is, the length of listing contract varies. And yet really it doesn't, because all of our contracts, whether it be with a buyer or seller, right, Ken?
That's right.
Are what we would call an easy exit guarantee on the back end. And so that means our contract really is only 1 day long.
Yes, and if you're married, that's a good thing, because then, the old saying, happy wife, happy life applies, because if there's any problems, you look like the hero, right?
Explain.
I just wanted to throw you off. So what we're talking about is based on a book.
Yeah, it
called
is.
The One Day Contract, written by Rick Pitino,
yeah,
who was a basketball coach, won championships. And really what he did is he started to study pathetic, isn't that horrible?
Yeah.
Professional athletes.
And oh, never mind.
And what they found was, in the last parts or the last year of their contract or the last parts of their contract, their performance went significantly up, because then they were about to sign their next contract, and it could mean literally the difference of millions of dollars based on their performance, right, and what their next contract was going to look like. And the premise of the book is, what would your performance at work be like if you only had a 1 day contract,
right, and
your performance, your employment tomorrow is actually based on your performance today. So if you don't perform today, you don't get the work tomorrow.
Right, and we are like that in real estate.
And yes, and so that's what Yetta was working towards, was talking about, we've set up our business kind of to model this book, in that, first of all, we wake up every day, we believe we're unemployed.
Right.
And so we have a few people that have actually employed us to sell their house or to find them a home to buy.
Right.
And so we're working diligently that day, because we know that tomorrow, if we haven't worked well for that client today, they have the right to fire us tomorrow.
And ought to.
And ought to. So actually, we're working on a 1 day contract, even though the paperwork we sign, we'd hate to do a 1 day contract, because we'd have to see you every day to renew the contract. So,
and MLS wouldn't accept it either.
No,
there's a minimum on the days on that. But.
Exactly. So we sign a longer contract, but we give what's called an easy exit guarantee.
And we give, yeah, we do. And so easy exit guarantee just means, really, with no questions asked, you as the seller or you as the buyer, it's the same thing whether we're helping you purchase a home or we're helping you sell a home or purchase a property for investment purposes. All of them have what we call an easy exit guarantee, and it's not an industry standard by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
It would be something we've decided, 25 years ago we decided we wanted to ensure our buyers and sellers were always in control. This is long before we read Rick's book, and when we read it we went, we understand, because we're already living that in our life.
Yeah, and it's a great book if you want to read it, you want your kids to read it. It talks about wasting time on TV, video games, that kind of thing, how that affects your brain energy, your ability to think, your ability to perform. Really, those video games, about the only thing they work on is eye-hand coordination.
They're good for that.
And yeah, but they also delete brain power. They cause us to get out of the true relationships where we're actually talking to a human being back and forth.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just interesting that one of the premises we live by is our business will only grow to the extent that we do.
Right.
So you and I are active learners. We read books, we go to seminars, we go to courses.
And we get to give courses too.
Yes, we do.
Right.
The only reason we can give courses is because we've absorbed information from other people, right?
Right, and then we've lived it.
Lived the
Because there's
experiences.
not much value in giving a course if you haven't internalized and become whatever you're learning
Right,
or reading about or whatever.
right. And so it's interesting because sometimes people go, oh, you're off to another course. And they go, well, after 26 years, haven't you learned how to sell real estate yet?
Yeah.
And it is really not about that. It's about as we become more educated, more wiser, then we can...
More wiser?
Yeah, that's a good word.
I love it.
As we
That just
become-
sounded incredibly intelligent.
Yes, I know. As we become wiser, thank you, Anna,
You're welcome. That was just too good.
then we actually are able to serve our clients at a higher level.
Right. And so some of those things are technical skills because it is always changing, right? The great news around what is professional and what is great service is it's a moving target. What was considered, if I did what I was doing in 1989 that was considered exemplary service at that time, if I provided those same tools and skills in marketing, no one would hire me.
No, as a matter of fact, we'd be out of business.
Right. And so it really is a moving target. And so we just encourage all our team members who are on a pretty uphill growth path, right? Everybody on the team, everybody actually in Keller Williams Solid Rock Realty as well. The courses and the education that is offered is huge. And we invite actually all our clients to come and join us for the workshops that we do every month. And a lot of the information in those workshops was learned from other workshops and courses that we took at one point, or books that we read, or speakers that we listened to. Right?
Absolutely.
So the one-day contract is an amazing thing to think about in terms of your own life and your own career. What would it look like if I knew, if I was going to work, and I'm putting my words into your mouth, if I went to work today and I was not guaranteed that I had a job tomorrow unless I performed a certain way today? I wonder how that would potentially shift the way some people show up at work.
Well, I know it does for our employees. Because, you know, we don't get any second chances to make good first impressions.
Right.
So right from our Debbie, our marketing specialist, who takes the photographs, preps the house, does the videography, gets everything ready to make your home have a great first impression when
Writes
it's
the
selling.
story.
She writes the
She's
story
writing
about your home.
great stories now.
Yes.
It's awesome.
And she's creating the advertising to go find the best buyer to buy that house. And so her job is really a one-day contract, right? It's if I don't provide value for the sellers or buyers, then they're not going to want to work with the Decker team. And if we don't have clients that work with the Decker team, we don't have money to pay staff, right? So same thing with our client care coordinator who answers the phone the majority of the time. The way she answers the phone
Right.
is a requirement, and how she serves the person on the end of the phone and how friendly she is and how helpful she is about that one-day contract, right?
And even our Promise Keeper.
And Promise Keeper Promise Keeper is an interesting word for a title for an employee, right? Because she keeps our promises. So we make a promise, then we copy her on that promise, and she makes sure it happens. As long as it's not a thing that a licensed realtor needs to do, but if it's to just send a piece of paper or find some information out and forward that, or
Well,
all that
and
kind
even
of
the
stuff.
documents that have to get to lawyers on time and to get to bankers in a timely fashion. We've taken a lot of those things that in the past, well, and actually with other realtors too, the client would be expected to facilitate certain transfer of paperwork and documents, that kind of thing. And we've said, let us handle it because we know who needs what and when.
Yeah.
And that way things don't fall through the cracks near as much as they would, right? Which is part of that whole...
we are in a technology age, but there's still a majority of, I think, clients that maybe don't have a scanner at home, can't easily scan the document and send it to their lawyer or send it to the banker. So it's just easier and more efficient for you, the client, that we look after all those details.
Right, and if you want to do it, we let you.
Yeah, but we still rather do it.
Yeah, we still do it.
Because we know it gets done in a timely fashion, and we don't have fires to put out a week or two before closing when there's documents that your lawyer doesn't have or the banker didn't get.
Right.
And so we just make sure it happens.
Right.
It makes a smooth transaction.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, obviously, as a buyer seller, there's still paperwork that you have that's your personal paperwork that we don't have access to.
Yeah.
So we're referring to the real estate related documents, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's been an awesome book and changed how we speak around here, and actually the action. The action that each team member needs to take because they know that they only have a one-day contract.
And even at Keller Williams Solid Rock Realty,
Yeah.
From our director of First Impressions at the front desk, how she greets clients that come in, how she books appointments effectively and efficiently for our sellers. She's friendly when she calls and asks for a particular time, and then she's very efficient in making sure that message about when the appointment is gets relayed properly and then back again to the agent that it's okay or it's not okay.
And then to us as the listing agent so that we know it's happening at the same time pretty much.
So then we can follow up.
Right, so we can follow up to get feedback and make sure that our client again feels great care. So that's that book. Anything else around the one-day contract that you want people to ponder?
No, I think it's just that really boil down the entire book to that one concept of if my tomorrow's contract was going to be dependent on being signed based on my performance today, would I act a little differently at my job?
Right.
Would I leave early? Would I return those personal emails? Would I get onto Facebook during job time? Like all that stuff that...
Or even just efficiencies. Right? It's not just doing things right.
Accurately.
Right.
And have my mind focused on my job and not on maybe something that happened back at home in the morning or whatever.
Right. Okay. So how do you show up?
Yeah.
And would they renew your contract tomorrow if that was really the way the world worked based on how you perform today?
Yeah. Great concept.
Yeah.
The next book that we read recently is called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And that was an interesting book. But before we get into that, we just got to break for a second because people might think that this is a book review show, and really it's about real estate.
Right.
And so you're listening to the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Decker team. And we just wanted to explain a little bit about us and how we grow as people and how that affects how we can serve our clients.
Right, and really what it means for you in the experience that you have with us, and even in sometimes the experience you have with the people you know, because you're taking a lot of the information and the concepts that we've integrated and passing them on. Like that's the really cool part.
Yeah.
There's a ripple effect with a lot of the information as well. So in the first half of the show, we talked about our one-day contract, which is very applicable to our real estate profession, because really we recognize that we only have a one-day contract with our clients. So you might want to go back and listen to that. It was fascinating. It covered all kinds of other great things as well. And now we're just moving on to another one that really has a very neat role.
Compounding effect.
Compounding effect, and that's the name of the book, within your real estate transaction and also in our lives.
Yeah. So really what it's about is the power of habits compounding over time.
Right.
And so a habit can be an effective habit, a good habit, or it can be a poor habit. For instance, you might have the habit of brushing your teeth.
That's a good thing.
That's a good habit.
Yeah.
To do it daily or twice a day or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And then when you go to the dentist, you'll find probably you got pretty decent teeth,
Right.
especially if you floss them. My dentist
And what
says,
if you water pick them too?
oh, well, maybe that's just, going over the top.
They're all little habits, though, that
Yes.
change the success you have with your dental
Yes.
or your teeth.
And so let's relay this to kind of our personal life, our morning regime, because how we show up in the morning before we go to work energizes us for the whole day.
Right.
So let's talk about our regime for a minute.
Okay.
You want to go there?
Not really.
It's a little scary because it's a work in progress. Like everything in our life, and probably in your life, it's a work in progress. It's here's a goal, here's where we're heading, we're doing it right 50% of the time, we're doing it right 80% of the time, we're doing it right 90% of the time. The goal is to hit 100, and yet we're sinful human beings, and we don't always hit 100% of what the Bible says or what we say we're going to do. So the compound effect talks about your daily things that compound over time, like eating well or eating that extra, hamburger or French fries for lunch instead of a salad, compounded over time, over 10, 20 years, adds 30 pounds to your waistline.
Or more.
Or more. A soda pop instead of a bottle of water can make a difference over time in your
One
weight.
or two doesn't matter.
No, the odd one, but the habit of having 3 or 4 a day instead of having 3 or 4 waters compounded over 10 years is going to make that 20, 30 pound difference.
Right.
Unless you're doing something else to counterbalance that, like exercising like a fiend to get rid of those extra calories that you
Right. So it's all
consumed. It's all counterbalancing.
Right.
So our morning regime.
Yep.
So one of the things we do is we wake up early.
Yes.
Relatively early. There's probably some of the folks that are listening get up before us. We're up at 5 a.m.
Right.
We're going to read our Bible, pray. We're going to exercise. We're going to do a thing called brain detox, which is it's a mental exercise, really. We're going to eat a decent breakfast, and we're going to be off to work, usually before 8.
Well, yeah, between 7 and 8. Depends on the day.
So that's our morning routine. Now, you might say, well, as a client of ours, you might say, well, what's that matter to me? Because who gives a rip? Well, that's a good question. And that's why I posed it. Because 2 things. One, we're not doing all those things when we should be at work.
Right.
Because not too many people are calling to see a house at 5 a.m.
Or 6 or even
Or 6
7.
or 7,
Yep.
right? So that's a good time to utilize that time to do that. The compound effect happens when throughout the day we have more peace, more focus, more mental capacity, more energy. So if by chance, which happens frequently, I've only been working half days lately, right?
12 to 12 or
No,
8 to 8.
8
Right.
to 8 is a half a day. So if you don't fill up at the beginning and energize yourself with those habits, then I wouldn't be able to work that 12-hour day because I'm old.
You are getting old.
and I want my client that I'm seeing at 7 o'clock or negotiating an offer at 8 p.m., I want them to get the same high intensity, high quality, energetic, engaged, sharp
Right. Sure.
person who the person that saw me at 10 a.m. got.
Right.
And if I don't eat well, I don't fuel my body properly, the compound effect of that, and I don't exercise, the compound effect of that, even the fact we take Sunday off.
Generally.
If we don't take a day of rest, we burn out, and we're no good to you as our client.
Right.
So those compound effects affect our clients, and that's why I want to talk about that book today.
Yeah, that's actually really, really true because it's also the habits of success, right? In the compound effect, what he talks about is, and Ken alluded to it a little bit, you can have habits that do not create success,
Right?
or you can have habits that do create success, right? And so what are a few of those habits that create success beyond our morning regime, which I think is helpful?
Well, let's look at marketing, for instance, marketing of homes. If we don't, look, we put out a newsletter with houses in it to a huge market area, and it's gone out monthly for 23 years or something like that, about 23 years.
Yeah.
Now,
24, yeah.
the success of that habit is significant because people expect it in the beginning of the month. It's got community news information. It's got pictures of our houses for sale. It creates the phone to ring. Now, if we weren't in the habit of doing that, we sent it out every 6 months, or not even every 6 months. One time we sent it out twice, and then we missed 4 months, and then we sent it out
8 times
suddenly
in
that
a row or whatever.
we don't have the habit of success any longer. Same thing with running ads on the internet, putting things on websites. If we put one house on a bunch of websites and do a nice video, and then the next house we don't do that for, we don't have the success formula for client B that we had for client A, and that's not good.
Right, and the other thing it does is if you have those, even think of the bearer as an example, that's something that, actually, if you want a copy of it, you can get one. We have an electronic version that is a general Ottawa statistic, so we actually put statistics on.
That's our newsletter.
Yes, the newsletter, the bearer, yeah, sorry, it's called the bearer of news. A little old-fashioned now, however, it's been around forever, so we're not changing the name. I'd like to call it the Inside Track on Real Estate paper version instead of radio version, but I guess we're not doing that. So there is lots of real estate information in it as well, just general market data every single month, right? Mm-hmm. And so that comes out around the 23rd, 24th in an electronic version. And then in certain communities in a hard copy version around the 1st of the month.
So if they want a
right. So if you want one, if you want an electronic version, connect with us at info@deckerteam.com. And the amazing thing with it that's created part of that success formula is people have been in a position to promote their businesses and their from want items and their for sale items for free. Mm-hmm. Right? Even businesses are welcome to do that. It's a line listing, and there's a certain number of characters.
As long as you're not in the business of selling real estate, because that would be...
That wouldn't work.
That wouldn't work.
No, that wouldn't work. So we've been doing that, like Ken was saying, for years and years, and that's even created success in our clients' lives. Mm-hmm. And in the people in those areas that have chosen to either get it electronically or hard copy, they have had success in using that publication because it's been around for a long time. Whereas if we just did it, even if we did it for a year in a row, every week even, it wouldn't have the success and the same pull that it has because it's been around for so long. Mm-hmm. And so you're welcome to use it as well for promoting home-based business, fantastic for that, and or items that you want to sell in your home or things that you're looking for or service that you want to provide. The cost is zero.
Yeah.
To you. Awesome. It does cost us something, and that's okay.
So another way we've grown is when we're helping someone find a home or sell a home or buy an investment property or commercial property, whatever the case may be, we're actually leading that person.
Right. Well, we have to lead ourselves first, which is all about the compound effect.
Yes.
Right.
But we're leading our client in the process of buying or selling, and it's important that we know how to lead.
Right.
So one of the persons that we've kind of linked arms with.
Yeah. We're having fun with this today. Our language is being tested as we're talking about all the things we've learned. It's awesome.
So John Maxwell.
Right.
Who has been voted the #1 leadership expert in the world. He's written 95 books now? Yeah. Wow, that's a lot of books. I haven't read them all, although I've read a good number of them, and you have as well.
Yeah.
We are also personally mentored by John Maxwell. Mm-hmm. And so as he pours into us, we're able to pour into our clients, our staff, and our business and have a great business.
Right, where we can give great service. So not all the courses that we attend and all the learning we do is on real estate. The basic skills of real estate we've mastered.
Pretty much.
I'm thinking, I hope so by now. Yeah. So everyone on the team has mastered the basics of real estate, and now there's still the nuances. So I will still attend a luxury course or attend a course on a specific aspect of real estate from time to time. Mm-hmm.
Because there's technology courses, because that's changing.
Right.
right? The way we market homes is changing
Oh.
all the time, and so we have to stay pace with that.
Right.
But the actual house, there's been a few modern changes, but pretty much it's the same for the last
Yeah.
30 years. A house
Yeah.
is a house is a house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's been really valuable to get education not real estate related that impacts the experience you have as a client.
Yes. And so let's talk about some real estate.
Okay, let's do that.
You got me talking about real estate. I love this property. We have one in Central Park area.
Yeah.
It's on Celebration Street.
I know, I love to celebrate.
Wouldn't you love to come home and celebrate every day? I think that's awesome.
Come home to Celebration daily.
Yeah, so this property is a townhouse.
Yep.
It's a 3-bedroom, brand new carpet throughout, actually, where the carpet is, hardwood floors on the main level. It has the staircase at the back of the house, which lets that light into
I
the
love that model.
family room.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
really
great
brightens
model.
the lower level.
And that's for sale at $375. Central
Right.
Park is inside the core. It's right beside the experimental park, so you've got
Experimental farm?
yeah, that place.
Yeah, okay. Okay, we called it an experimental park.
Well, it does have a park area.
Yeah, it does.
And you can
Okay.
walk it and enjoy the
Yeah, you
flowers and all
can.
that kind of stuff.
All right, I'll give you that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you actually walk by Tim Hortons on the way to it, so you can grab a coffee if you want that way, or you make your own coffee, whichever you prefer. And so it's a great property. Yeah, it's got an updated kitchen. It's ready to go.
Okay.
Ready to move in.
Perfect. And another one that is also $375. So that seems to be our price of the day.
There you go.
And it is located in Riverside Park. So again, inside the core, really great single family home, been lived in for over 50 years by the same family.
Wow.
I know, I love it. It's just so neat. And all of the important behind the scenes things have all been updated. So your windows and your shingles and furnace and that kind of stuff has all been handled. And it's a 4-bedroom.
On like one level?
No, it's like a 4-bedroom, 2-story.
Okay, so 4 bedrooms upstairs.
Yeah.
Not one tucked in the
no,
basement with the little window.
No. A true 4-bedroom home.
Wow, for $375.
Yeah.
Single.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what we're asking. So we're anticipating we will get many offers. It's just being launched.
That's good. That's
Yep.
good pricing.
It should come and go as quickly as we can talk about it. So if you're interested in that home or any home, you know how to connect with us, and $375 seems to be the price of the day.
Yep.
And we've got lots of other price points as well. So thank you for joining us on the Inside Track.
Yeah. And if you want to reach out to us to see a house, maybe you just saw one and you think, hey, I wonder what that house is worth. You can call us at 613-860-4663 or email us at info@deckerteam.com. And we could even send you out a link on how to download our app so you can find it on your app, on your smartphone, without even calling us.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be cool?
perfect. You get to control your own app
There you go.
around real estate. So thanks for joining us on the Inside Track on real estate.
Bye for now.
Bye.
What you wanna do?